Listen closely, because what I'm about to walk you through changes the entire conversation around XRP. And before we get into any of this, understand something clearly. This is not financial advice. I'm not telling you what to buy, sell, or hold. I am simply showing you what is happening behind the scenes, using real infrastructure data and confirmed institutional sourcing. What you choose to do with that information is your responsibility and your opportunity. Now, here is the reality almost nobody has processed yet. Ripple is not trying to push its way into the banking system from the outside. Ripple is already inside the system, integrated, embedded, quietly connected to the rails that move money across continents, institutions, and currencies. Not someday, right now. When I first read the TCS/BA/NCS integration documentation, I had the same reaction most people would. There's no way. There's no chance Ripple has already been inserted at this scale without headlines, hype, or mainstream coverage. But when you read it closely, when you connect the dots, when you understand the architecture of the modern banking core system, the truth becomes impossible to ignore. Ripple's technology has been integrated directly into the same core banking software that services more than 1/4 of the global banking population. That means banks that run on TCS/BA/NCS now have Ripple as one of their default payment rails, right alongside SWIFT, SEPA, and domestic settlement networks. And the key detail is this: they do not need to adopt Ripple in the way the crypto community imagines. They don't need press releases. They don't need training. They don't need rollout campaigns. The rails are already there. Because these systems run on intelligent routing. When a transaction is initiated, the system automatically evaluates every settlement rail available and selects the one that is fastest, cheapest, and most reliable. SWIFT is slow. SEPA is regional. Domestic networks are limited. Ripple settles in seconds, across borders, at a fraction of the cost. So when the routing engine decides, Ripple wins by default. And here's the part that should make you sit with this in silence for a moment. The moment this routing logic is engaged at scale, XRP is pulled into the settlement process automatically. Not because a bank wants to hold crypto, not because executives voted to support a new asset, not because of headlines or hype, but because the system chooses efficiency over legacy, because the infrastructure has already been wired, because the switch has already been installed. This is why the market currently feels quiet. This is why the price is stable. This is why retail feels confused, bored, or uncertain. Because the public narrative always lags the institutional truth. The groundwork had to be finished before the liquidity could move. The legal clarity had to be established before settlement volume could rise. The access rails had to be built before activation could occur. All of that is done now. TCS/BA/NCS integration is not a rumor, it is documented. The European central banking tests on XRPL are not speculative, they are confirmed. The liquidity unlock of the Nostro Vostro system is not theoretical. It is the entire point of Ripple's architecture. So understand what moment you are sitting in. You are not waiting for adoption. Adoption is already coded into the operational infrastructure of global finance. You are waiting for activation. And when activation happens, price does not move in a line. Price reclassifies. The market does not climb, the market adjusts. Because value is not discovered during hype. Value is discovered when the system needs what only XRP can do. Here is the mechanism, the part most people have never taken the time to understand. Modern banking does not move money directly, it moves messages. When a bank sends funds internationally, they are not actually sending money. They are sending a request across a messaging network like SWIFT, telling another institution to release money already sitting in a pre-funded account. That means banks must keep massive pools of idle capital sitting around the world just to make payments possible. Trillions locked, dead liquidity, frozen lifeblood of the economy doing nothing. That is the flaw Ripple was designed to eliminate. When Ripple introduced its system, it didn't try to destroy banks or replace their structure. It replaced the need for those pre-funded pools by creating a bridge asset that could move value instantly between currencies. Instead of holding yen in Tokyo and pounds in London and pesos in Mexico City, banks simply convert value into XRP, move it across the network in seconds, and convert it into the destination currency instantly. No delays. No idle capital, no friction, no SWIFT intermediaries, no multi-bank approval chains, one path, one bridge, one asset. Now combine that with what has just been integrated. TCS/BA/NCS is not a payment app. It is not a fintech service. It is the core banking stack that sits underneath the ledger systems of thousands of banks. It is the plumbing, the beating heart, the transaction engine. And when Ripple is available as a rail inside that engine, the difference is not cosmetic. It is systemic. A bank does not need to train staff. They do not need to create new customer products. They do not need to announce anything. The routing engine simply gains another option, and this is where the shift becomes unstoppable. Because routing is now automated by performance, not preference. The system checks all available rails. How long will SWIFT take? Hours, maybe days. How much will it cost? Multiple percentage points with unpredictable settlement windows. How long will Ripple take? Seconds. Cost? Fractions of a cent. The algorithm does not have emotional attachment. It does not care about legacy. It selects the best option. That option is Ripple. And when Ripple is selected, XRP is activated. This is why the integration matters. This is why it changes everything. The adoption of XRP does not require banks to hold it. It does not require them to make announcements. It does not require them to believe in crypto. The system uses XRP the same way the internet uses packets of data, invisibly, efficiently, continuously. Once the rails are built, usage is an output, not a decision. Now, let's address the supply side. XRP is not like Bitcoin, where value is primarily derived from holding. XRP's design allows for continuous turnover. Liquidity can move in and out rapidly, enabling the same units to be reused across many transactions. But here is the key. That only works when there is enough supply available on the public market to handle daily flow. When institutions begin moving volume through XRP rails, they will not settle those flows using retail exchange liquidity. They will acquire supply off-market in bulk, custody it, and cycle it internally. That removes XRP from circulation, reducing the amount available for public markets. Reduced supply plus increasing institutional settlement demand equals instant repricing, not slow growth, not a gradual climb, a break in the price structure, a new range, a new reality. And this is why everything right now feels quiet. Because the build-up phase of systems-level adoption never looks exciting. It looks calm. It looks still. It looks like nothing. The groundwork phase isn't designed for retail excitement. It is designed for structural readiness. The people who only watch charts believe nothing is happening. The people who watch infrastructure know everything is happening because the infrastructure is now complete. The rails are now built. The connection points are now live. The system can activate at any time, and when it does, retail will not understand what just happened. They will ask, why is the price moving like this? Where did the liquidity go? Why didn't anyone tell us? But you are not retail in this moment. You are early. You are ahead of the narrative. You are watching the architecture of global settlement quietly shift from outdated messaging networks to real-time digital value transfer. You are seeing the system change before the headlines acknowledge it. There is one more layer you need to understand, and this is where the revaluation event, the moment price stops behaving like a speculative chart and starts behaving like system infrastructure, becomes inevitable. Here's the final layer, the part that turns all of this from interesting to inevitable. The old financial system is not simply slow, it is structurally constrained. Every cross-border transaction requires capital to be pre-funded, held, monitored, reconciled, and released. That means trillions of dollars are trapped in limbo every single day just to keep the system functioning. Banks do not want that. Regulators do not want that. Governments do not want that. And central banks especially do not want that. Locked liquidity is economic drag. Inefficiency is cost. Delay is risk. The global economy has been running on friction for decades, and the pressure to remove that friction has reached a breaking point. Ripple did not appear to create a new currency. Ripple appeared to remove the friction, to replace pre-funding with on-demand settlement, to turn locked capital into active capital. And now that Ripple is sitting inside the core banking stack, the only thing preventing the system from activating is timing, not belief, not debate, not speculation, just timing. Because infrastructure does not ask the public whether it should turn on. It turns on when it is needed. And the moment global liquidity becomes tight enough, the system will automatically route to the rails that free liquidity the fastest. That rail is Ripple, and the neutral settlement asset that unlocks the movement is XRP. So the revaluation is not going to be triggered by hype. It is going to be triggered by necessity. The moment liquidity demand exceeds the capacity of the old rails, the network will switch. And when that switch occurs, price will not respect past ranges. Because when an asset stops being valued as a speculative instrument and starts being valued as infrastructure, the market must rewrite its price logic entirely. Infrastructure is not priced on mood, it is priced on function, volume, and dependence. And the world is moving into a phase where instant value transfer is not a luxury, it is a requirement. This is why everything feels calm before the break. This is why the chart looks quiet while the system around it shifts. This is why people who only see candles think nothing is happening, while people who see architecture know everything is happening. You are not watching a coin waiting for a rally. You are watching the digital backbone of global finance being installed in real time. And here is where identity comes in. Because this moment is not about hype, it is about awareness. It is about holding a position not because of excitement, but because of understanding. It is about knowing what is being built even when the crowd does not. This is where the separation happens. Between those who chase price and those who recognize structure. Between those who wait for permission and those who know what they hold. Between those who see charts and those who see the system. If you are still here right now, it is because something in you recognizes that this is not noise. It is alignment, not hope, alignment, not speculation, alignment, not hype, alignment. And so here's what we do next. We lock it in. Hit that like button so this message reaches the ones who are meant to see it. Subscribe so you do not wake up one morning and realize the revaluation already happened. And comment one word so I know you are not just watching, you are positioned, aligned. Type aligned in the comments right now.